Okay, just knocking this away, bringing the cue ball behind the purple. Oh, and it catches the point. So a little unfortunate there.
It was, although I think he might have wanted to get slightly deeper in behind the 5.
You read my mind there, Phil, and you know he'll be a little upset and certainly put it on himself. Now, Oi is a guy that really relies on that rhythm around the table. He likes that kind of feel-good strut. What you'll see about Oi, he just never gives in, and what I mean by that is no matter the score or the circumstance, if he's, you know, made a bunch of mistakes to fall behind, whatever it is, he just never gives up. You know, right when he was making all those serious runs at all these big events. Of course, he's so refreshing, just like his counterpart in this match.
Naoyuki Oi wins the first rack.
Nicely done. The first rack, announced by our referee Marcel Eckhart, is in the books. Jeremy, Oi's mistake not punished.
No, and I would have, you know, I was an aggressive player as well. I mean, it's just how you become a good player. But I tell you, I would have been on the fence there, maybe crossing that 7 over. And a big surprise, and we've seen it all week, when you're coming across from the middle of the table and a ball hanging, hard to capture the speed and the hit on the object ball. So much more difficult shot on the 8 than expected.
Yeah, that's his Achilles heel on that pressure shot from distance. He tends to move, and when you move, you miss.
Yeah, and generally when you move, you let up on the ball as well. It's funny how those things go together. And I think his first ball pocketed here in Game 3 for Kaçi.
Kaçi wins the third rack.
Kaçi breaks his duck because Naoyuki Oi missed the 7 and the 8. Well, the reason that Kaçi faces a deficit is because he failed on a safety shot in behind the 5 in the first rack, but he didn't fail on that one.
And Phil, you're, you know, a sports guy, right? You've been around it all, it seems like. And, you know, when you have players from different countries that kind of remind yourself of each other, right? You see that in a lot of different sports. Kaçi, I've always kind of felt like him and Albin. You know, the way they play, very efficient. Seems like they're always playing the right percentage.
False stroke, no contact.
Very great with the position play, and you know, two of the most consistent players on the planet. And I always felt like they remind me of each other. Kind of funny, they're both in the event still. Kaçi's definitely got that as well.
Off the table, perfectly mannered, always smiling. When he won the Whirlpool Masters, he broke character and jumped on the table in delight. 2-2 for Ko to hide behind.
Well, he doesn't want to lock it up on the 9 because these players are so incredible, going multiple rails, swerving the ball, arcing it. So he wouldn't mind getting ball in hand for a little combination or kiss shot on the 9, but he doesn't want Oi making the highlight reel on him. Now, the one thing about this is you go 2 rails at it to either move the 9 out of the way and make your opponent run out, or possibly a good hit on the 2.
Applause from the crowd. Yes, because contact was made, but 2 has been left. And 4 and 9 are in line.
Yeah, things developing, and really when you make a big mistake, right, it takes time really for things to kind of change and go your way a little bit, and that missed 8 ball to go up 3-0 was huge. Labutis on the board against Albin Ocean, trailing 2-1.
The classic example of botched mistakes. Yesterday, Gary Wilson against Mario He. He'd already beaten him earlier on in double elimination. Had to play He again. He missed 2 point-blank range 9 balls. The one of them was to take a 6-2 lead. Couldn't quite believe it, neither could Gary. Now then, here's that 4-9.
Yeah, it's going to throw back a little bit, so he'll play to overcut this a hair. Use the rail just a touch, like that. Now, this is a difficult shot, and I think really one of the ones he loves, the cut down the rail. Now getting more into his process. Do you see that? Not being so quick on the shot.
That's a beauty. The knowledgeable crowd here in Lugo applauding that one. It wasn't spectacular, but boy, if he can knock those in at that pace and get the position he has, he's going to be dangerous. Three weeks ago, he turned 34 years of age, did Ko Pin-Yi. He's in the prime of his career. As potent as ever. That is 4 on the trot. He's got logo problems in Lugo, but not with the scoreboard. He's going nicely now. He leading 4-2 against Naoyuki Oi.
Really had to focus on the hit on the brown, getting it between those 2 balls, and this isn't going to be what he wanted. I'm surprised he didn't really look at kicking behind that brown 7. That laid nice. Kick the brown 7 to the side rail, let it come down to the bottom rail, especially with a big 8 in the middle of the table.
Feeling the heat, Oi, literally and figuratively.
You know, his last mistake got fully punished, and kind of probably figures the same here. Many juniors in action here this afternoon, and they've been just incredible so far again, just like they were last year in Atlantic City, just like they were earlier this year at the Copper Box Arena there for the UK Open. And these are testers here, Phil. You can't take your eye off these. The 6, a big blocker. The 5-7 combination not lined up. Easy to overhit this. Oh, he's going into him. That was super dangerous.
Extension call.
Didn't expect him doing that. I thought he would try to get clean, even if he had to bank the 5, right? Maybe play a safety option, but stayed aggressive, tried to get him open, and just didn't work out.
said this before this week, and I'll say it again, the worst kind of hook, the self-imposed variety. The whole complexion of the rack has changed.
Yeah, probably some speed on this kick as well. You just don't know how difficult a shot that is, especially to make it look so easy. This is another part of the game that I think he's one of the best in the world at, and figuring out what's the right approach, what's the high percentage to get the hit, and then beyond with the safety. He's lost the... Ooh, it did stick up. So sometimes the tight pockets really upset you when it comes to pocketing a ball, but it will save Whitey every now and again.
The extension, please.
That was the last thing that Oi wanted.
Yeah, and he's snookered here, and, you know, probably goes at this with a bit of speed, trying to see what he can create. Maybe the 2 off the 9 in the side. Don't really see the 9 having any future exit here on the next shot, but you never know. Maybe 2 rails in the side if you put a ton of speed on it. Now this is surprising to me. Not only that, because if you jump at this, right, you can't ever hold position on the 3 unless you're jumping safe. So I kind of like the kick myself. Yeah, there you go. I think it's better. I mean, unfortunate to hold right there for position, but still think it was the best play. And a little straight. He'd love to be able to slide over to get real heavy on the black 8. Oh, he's got plenty of angle.
Queuing like this diagonally, it can be a little tricky. Ooh, the 8 went in, but Ko's heart missed a beat.
Yeah, a little pocket speed was on his side there. Another shot, he rarely ever misses his mark. And again, can't express it enough. When you're in good position, stay aggressive with the position. Don't back down.
The best titled tournament that Ko ever won was the 2013 Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games 9-ball singles. A black belt in potting.
Yeah, and again, it's just a couple mistakes from Oi, and of course Ko's got a lot to do with it, but full punishment after now what looks like a really nice break and run to get to the hill quickly.
No hint of a comeback here, but there is on table 2. P.S. Labutis was 5-1 down to Albin Auschen. Now it's 5-4.
Yeah, and that's via 2 break and runs as well, consecutive.
Kopinyi wins the rack.
Kopinyi plays an effective hook. He wasn't flustered by the time running out at all.
All right, makeable kick shot here. There you go.
Is that the start of something transformational?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, always got a big offensive gear. Now, I talked about earlier, very difficult equipment. In tournament settings, I think it's hard to really try to hit that gear, try to promote it, you may say. I think Earl Strickland was one of the few that really played in that kind of mode day in, day out. And it's just a hard thing to do. The way filler processes so quickly, you can kind of see that at times from him as well. He's got to slow down a little bit. I don't know if that's going to make getting to the 9 a little funny or not.
It's been a little adventurous. That's better, Naoyuki.
Play a mild safety, just rolling up on the 3. He wants to do a little more than that, probably. If he could reach this, I think he takes on the combination. And it looks like we've had 1 through to the final 8, Phil.
Fault stroke. Ball in hands.
Oh, now then. He's at the point where you can't afford to make blunders like that.
And play start the clock.
Yeah, and going into just a little piece of the 3, I kind of labeled that a little unlucky. Had to really put the focus on a very difficult pot on the 2.
You were correct, Jeremy, by the way. First player into the quarterfinals, Duong Kwok Wang, who has beaten Sanyan Pilovanovic. He's doubled up on the young Bosnian 10-5.
Yeah, Sanjan doing his thing, though. If he just keeps at it, keeps knocking on the door, he's going to get to, I'm sure, a quarterfinal, semifinal, and then eventually one of these big finals.
So Duong plays either Mark Bosch de Bosch or Yanni Uski next.
You know, we talked about Bosch at different moments. He had a bit more of a career, but I think Uski's a dangerous player. Put a lot of confidence together with some big wins yesterday.
This was the winning moment. It was a 3-9 combination that clearly had to be manufactured. Quite some distance between the 2 balls. But Duong was equal to the task. Vietnam, in terms of pool, flying. And so the first 2 players into the quarterfinals will be from Asia.
All right, a 2-rail escape there, and we may see the same here. It doesn't have quite the angle, so you'll see a little more power into the stroke. Trying to move the ball some 10 feet back and forth, drop it down on the bottom rail for the 9 and the win.
He's the World Pool Masters champion, and he's mastered Naoyuki Oi in this one. It is 10-4 over and out for the Japanese star.
I feel like this is a big shot for Skyler. That's the second chance in this rack for Woodward. That chance was a little easier than the first one, but now Kledio's got a chance here. He can cut this ball in.
Extension code.
Yeah, he will have wanted to send a message to his young opponent early on. You're in the big leagues now, boy. He's had 2 opportunities to do it, and Kaçi might feel he's got away with one here if he can take this opener.
Yeah, over on table 1, Emil Andre Gangflot, he's waiting for Dang Junhui. Dang's not actually in the building, so I think he's got his timing mixed up.
Yeah, well, that's certainly one to keep an eye on. I don't know what the position of the tournament organisers is in that sense. How late does he have to be before the match is forfeited?
You can see the similarity there with Eklund Kaçi, his older brother. Both stay very still on the shot.
It's only the very first rack, but that could be quite significant. Woodward had chances there to assert himself.
This is a tough pot. Yeah, it was always going towards that jaw, wasn't it? From the minute he struck the cue ball, you could see, was it going to fall? I always felt like it made me stay down on the shot more and played that a little bit slower.
But is there anything that's technically harder to do if your shoulder is at you?
Well, I mean, I suppose it depends. Is it his right shoulder or left shoulder? Do we know?
I think it's his right shoulder.
Yeah,
No,
so-
wait a minute now. He did point to it. No, I think it's his left shoulder.
yeah, I mean, obviously that's just the arm that's going on the table, so I think he's all right. So if it's the arm where you hold the cue, there's a bit of movement going on. He seems all right to me, though, as he flies round the table.
Yeah, seems untroubled. So Kaçi got his opportunity, missed the 2, left it hanging, and sat down for the rest of the rack, which has been won by Skyler Woodward. 1-all. So many big names went out yesterday. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz and Shane Van Bonen alongside Filler as the biggest of them. Jason Shaw gone as well. But Skyler Woodward still here, and now with a really good chance to draw level once again.
Yeah, disappointment for Jason Shaw again in another World 9-Ball Tour arena. Just can't quite get to the depths of these events. I'm sure one day he will, though. Well, this rack's had a little bit of everything, but it looks like Woodward's going to take it to tie the match up.
Just about half a second of anxiety there. What the relaxed smile indicates, he's got a simple 9. And he draws level at 2 each. Maybe a bit less so now.
It's always amazing watching them slow-mos where you see what the cue ball actually does. It can skid along the table.
Extension code.
Land behind the green 6. Two-rail kick.
Oh, look at this.
Where's the cue ball?
Foul shot. Ball in hand.
Well, he fluked the 3, but he didn't get away with it. Yeah, he said before he's beat Kaçi a few times in some tournaments, so he knows how to beat these players. Only 17 years of age. Just left himself a little wide on this 9, so he's got to take a bit of care on this one. This is to tie the match up.
Not phased by that 9-ball at all, and for the third time they're level. Woodward 3, Kaçi 3.
That's a good pot.
Kledio Kaçi won't be playing in the World Cup next week, Carl. Eklund Kaçi will be partnered by Bizar Spahiu. Albania have played in it 3 times, all in recent years. They've got past the first round, and all but one of those instances, never any further than that. And just as I was about to say something to really big up Kledio Kaçi, an unexpected miss on the 5. What I was going to say, though, was that when you look at the potential of this young man, the Kaçi brothers playing together, in future years, you're looking at the possibility of a small country like Albania winning a World Cup that's been shown all around the world. That would be enormous in a country like that.
Yeah, there'd be some partnership as well. They won't struggle for practice time together, would they? This shot's gone a little bit weird for Skyler. If he had a big angle, this rack was over. Now he's got to pull it back and probably pinch a bit of the pocket.
Big mistake, you have to say. 4-3 lead was there for the taking for Kledio Kaçi. Didn't expect him to miss that 5, but once he had, he took no further part in rack 7. So Skyler Woodward just seems to have moved into another gear in the last phase of this match. 5-3 up.
Another dry break.
Yeah, second one he's had. The previous one was in rack 3, and it turned out to be the only shot he played.
Yeah, just played a few worrying shots in the last 2 or 3 racks as Kledio.
Was 1 rack away from winning the prestigious long-established Turning Stone in January. He's been in 2 other finals in America since then, and of course there was that UK Open semi-final. One of those finals in the States was against his great pal Billy Thorpe in Massachusetts in March. Finished at 12 minutes to 4 in the morning.
Punishing the mistakes from his opponent. He's creeping away, Michael.
Yeah, and I just wonder whether experience is starting to show here. Woodward is looking increasingly comfortable as this goes on. His second dry break. This one, though, was not costly. Woodward 3 clear, 6-3.
Wow, how did the cue ball stay out of that middle? I think he'll be getting the jump shot, the jump cue rather again, playing another jump shot, similar to the 2 ball actually, over the 9. You know the players get close to these now, this day and age.
possibly deserved better than that in terms of position on the 4 after the confidence he'd shown with the previous shot.
Yeah, Woodward likes to attack the table. That's why he went for the bank. Could have found a safety shot, but it's not really his style of play. He likes to play an attacking style of 9-ball, a little bit like his World Cup of Pool partner who he beat yesterday, SVB. I know we've still got a couple of days left here, Michael, but I'm really looking forward to the World Cup of Pool.
It's just a great event. Team events and individual sports are notoriously difficult to get right, but that is one event that found the formula a long time ago. Strength and depth, any team in it realistically has a chance of beating anyone else. Well, you think back to earlier in the rack when it looked for all the world as though Woodward was going to have ball in hand. From the position that would have put him in, it would almost certainly, you would think, be 7-3 now. And a long way back from there.
Kaçi wins the rack.
Instead of which, Kaçi takes it.
Hampered queuing. No, it's not really there. The bank shot's there. Where's the cue ball finished? Well, that is absolutely ideal.
It's funny how often, you know, when you see someone in any sport who's established themselves, and then there are whispers that they've got a younger sibling who's even better. How often that turns out to be the case. You think of really famous pairs of sporting siblings. Jack Charlton came along first, and then he had a very successful career, but his younger brother Bobby was one of the very best footballers in the world in his era. Most obvious example, Venus Williams was on the scene sometime before Serena Williams, who's gone on to achieve so much more than her, albeit that Venus, even as the older sibling, is still playing. And works with cousins as well. You think of Les Ferdinand, who was a big star in English football in the 90s, and then his younger cousin Rio came along and became one of the best in the world. Is history going to repeat itself with Eklund and Kledio?
Molinari brothers?
Yeah, there's not much between them though, and I think they kind of broke through around the same time, although Francesco is the younger of the two, and he's got his major, Eduardo hasn't. How quickly it's all turned around here. You just think that cue ball drops in the side pocket. It's probably 7-4. Instead of which, Kaçi takes that rack. One really good shot here. And he can reassert himself just as the winning line starts to come into distant view.
Nicely cued there from Skyler. Very nicely done indeed.
And now he's got to make it count.
Wants this to bounce off, so he's got a nice angle. Probably just play this with a bit of bottom. A little bit of left English, just pull the cue ball back out for the 9. It's a little bit shorter pace. He's good at this type of shot, but he'd rather be straighter. This for 7-5. Both players have had shots in this rack.
It was a bit of a testing 9 to finish. Woodward really needed that. He's got it. Bit of breathing space again. It's 7-5.
That's okay. Yeah, the green 6 took a little bit of a wobble.
Even in the tighter pockets, that was always likely to drop, and this looks pretty elementary from here. Well, how quickly the narrative and the complexion of a match can change, particularly when you're playing as well as Woodward has for the last couple of racks. It was all getting very tense. Looked like Kaçi might get back to 6-all. But Woodward in total control now. Kaçi's going to have to win the last 5 racks. Back-to-back breaking runs for Skyler Woodward. First to the hill at 9-5. Well, the way he got into that, Carl, tells us a real story about how good he's starting to feel.
He absolutely fired that ball in. I don't think he was trying to get the cue ball back over to where it's finished. He's in a little bit of disbelief.
Had a similar shot to that at a key moment a couple of racks ago.
Extension code.
The green 6 ball. Will that go past that 7, the round 7? Chance for Kledio Kaçi to stay in this match. Woodward has not took his chance.
Yeah, as you said, didn't intend to be there in terms of position on the 4. The way he'd been starting to play, he might have fancied he'd find his way out of that.
Extension code.
We'll have to wait for another chance to get through. The players keep an eye on what's going on, and they'll all have noticed how many remarkable comebacks there have been over the last few days. Does that get in your head a little bit, maybe, when you're in a strong position, that you've seen so many players come from behind?
I don't think they'll be thinking about that, for instance, but I think it's more a case of Skyler's been in matches, plenty of matches where he's probably lost from this scoreline. So when you feel like you've got that chance to win and you don't take it, you've got to prepare yourself for madness. This rack's not over though, is it? It's all about that green 6. Does he feel it passes, or is he going to draw into the ball? Yeah, he had to try and make something happen.
Oh, watch out for the 9. And now he's left it hanging over the pocket. Could the end be moments away, Carl?
Yep, this is a hanger. All he's got to do is contact any part of the 9 and he's through to his second quarter final on the spin.
It's the end of the story for Kledio Kaçi in one sense. In another, it really feels like just the beginning. What an impact the young man from Albania has made on this tournament. We'll see so much more from him. Skyler Woodward with kind words for his vanquished opponent, but he pulled away from 6-5 to win 4 in a row, congratulated by the beaming Jeremy Jones.